The whole
why
got
would you get
humiliated
somebody
by
like
Joe
Ian
Rogan.
Carroll?
Yeah, but Ian Carroll, I didn't bring him on for that purpose. I brought him on because I want to find out, like, how does one get involved in the whole conspiracy theory business? Because his whole thing is just conspiracies.
Sure.
You know?
But do you have any,
This is so weirdly bizarre. So he invited Ian Carroll on because he wanted to find out how one gets into the whole conspiracy theory business, because he's all about conspiracy. I haven't watched the episode, so I can't really say much about it. I can't really say how he conducted it. I only saw bits and pieces of it where it seemed like he was just going with whatever Ian Carroll was saying. I don't know if anybody here watched the episode and if he actually, pushed back on Ian Carroll. But from the clips that I have seen, he just sat there and was like acted fascinated basically by the stuff that Ian Carroll is saying. And Ian Carroll is like, he's like the bottom of the barrel in terms of accurate knowledge. I'm going to be very honest. I've seen lots of things that he said, and I haven't seen one minute of him talking that wasn't full of lies and flaws. The guy is just completely full of crap. He makes up things on the spot.
Well, then it's good Joe had him on so he can expose him.
Which he didn't do, as far as I understand. And I can give you just one example. Like, I engaged with his content maybe once or twice. Let's see, Ian Carroll. Let's mention Ian. Let's see. So here is one example, which is very funny. Here is this low effort account, which is actually a Pakistani woman. He wrote a book in 1995 stating the World Trade Centers would be destroyed by Muslims, and then admitted after on camera that Israel was the primary beneficiary of it. The conversation is actually about the World Trade Center attack that happened in 1993.
Wait, there was another attack?
Yes. It's actually about the terrorist attack on 1993. Here's Ian Carroll. I'm not saying this proves anything. I'm just saying it's an oddly specific thing to write in 1995. Yeah, it's about 1993. It's about the attack in 1993. That's why he's writing about it in 1995. This is not him predicting the 9/11 attacks.
But
like,
how is it possible that someone in 1995 could predict something that would happen in 1993? How does that make sense?
But this is not even the great thing. I saw dispensationalism. Where was that? Oh, he even got community noted, didn't he? Wait a minute. He even got community noted here. So Ian Carroll explains the Scofield Bible. He even got community noted right here. According to Scofield, the money to edit his annotated Bible came from Alwyn Ball and John T. Pyre, wealthy men from NY, both members of the Plymouth Brethren Dispensationalist group, along with Arno C. Gebelin, who introduced him to Scofield. If you listen to what he's talking about here, it's so full of nonsense. Look at this. The funny thing is, when you talk about this guy, they say, "Oh, why don't you refute him? Why don't you point out if he's wrong?" When you point it out, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to listen to it anymore."
Do you guys know about the Scofield Bible? Oh boy, here's a rabbit hole for you. Here's a rabbit hole for all of us. In the early 1900s, right around when the Federal Reserve was founded, and
the Federal Reserve has no connection to the topic at all. He's just mentioning it randomly.
But it's when Jews who control the Federal Reserve decided we need a Bible.
It has no relevance to the topic at all. No connection at all. There's no connection at all. It's completely randomly mentioned just to somehow imply that it has a connection to it. That's
the Jews controlled the Federal Reserve, so they took all the money out of the Federal Reserve and paid for a Bible.
the Balfour Declaration happened right at that exact same time. The Rothschild family
hired
this dude, this pastor.
This is completely made up. The Rothschild, which I know I'm nitpicking about this one just for my personal thing, because I kind of cringe when people say Rothschild because it's Rothschild. But anyway, the Rothschild family, he says, hired this dude C.I. Scofield. The Rothschild family had nothing to do with this at all. There is no single piece of evidence that he had any connection to Schofield.
Which part of Federal Reserve didn't you understand, AP?
It's completely
There's your link.
made up.
The Roth,
Completely made up.
the Rothschilds bought the Federal Reserve and paid for a Bible.
He completely made it up. Like, it has nothing to do with there is no single piece of evidence that can actually prove a link. Nothing. Not even suspicion.
Reserve,
There's
the entire
nothing
Federal
at
Reserve. Oh, we're just imagining the Federal Reserve now. Come on.
Hired this dude, this pastor in the deep.
Second problem, already, nobody hired him. The guy sat down and started penning, basically, or started writing, or I think it was actually mostly not even his own writings. It was basically written together with others, where they wrote down the Scofield Study Bible. It's not a Bible. It's a study Bible. It was this guy who himself commented as a dispensationalist on the Bible, and he himself decided to publish it. So they looked for means to publish it. He was also not from the Deep South. He was from the Midwest, but whatever. He also just makes up random things here, like Deep South. What?
Yeah, I knew a guy in prison who had the Scofield Bible. What I remember about it was that it was famous for its lists. He would always count things in the Bible. And he would say 10 things this, 12 promises about this, and there would just be lists all over the place.
Yeah, I have it right here. But let me get to it in a second.
South, he made a new version of the Bible called the Scofield Bible.
He made a new version of the Bible. He made a new version of the Bible.
A new guy. I caught it too, AP. Guys, anyone who thinks that a study Bible is a new version of the Bible, when that's just the King James. It's a King James Bible
it says it right there.
Yeah,
King
with
James
his
version.
study notes. Yeah, with his study notes. So it's a study Bible. Anyone can make a study Bible. I could take the NIV right now, add my notes, and say this is my study Bible. I haven't made up a new Bible version. So anyway, yeah, this guy's sounding like all kinds of stupid right now.
This guy is such an imbecile. I mean, seriously. Somebody who probably has no idea what the Bible is might just accept this as it is said. But anyone who has an ounce of an understanding of what the Bible actually is and what Bible translations are should pick this up here immediately and think, what an absolute idiot. And these guys actually published this conversation.
The Bible called the Scofield in the Deep South. He made a new version of the Bible called.
He made a new version of the Bible would be what the Nazis did, for example, would be to take the Bible and to change the contents of it, literally, to take out contents of the Bible, to rewrite the Bible, to add something new to the Bible, and that's then therefore a new version. It is different from anything else. If I sat down and started writing a new translation of the Bible, maybe you could call that a version. That would technically not be a version; it would just be a translation. None of that happened here. The guy sat down. I have it right here, just to look at it because of these idiots. Here it says even King James version. It says it right here, like at the bottom, King James version, right here, King James version, and it is simply the King James Bible that has been around forever, simply with his extra notes and thoughts and references. It's a study Bible.
AP.
Bible. It's not a new Bible.
But the King James version was paid for by the Rothschilds.
Here's another one. Rothschild Scofield Bible. I dare you. If you show me one single piece of solid evidence that shows that the Rothschilds commissioned the Scofield Bible, which, by the way, is not a thing, it's a Scofield Study Bible, I will delete my channel right here.
Yeah, you better hope there's not some evidence out there, bud.
There's not. I already checked. Abundantly. There's no single piece of evidence. It's complete nonsense. Complete nonsense, made up by imbeciles who go here and talk and then have thousands of people sharing their content. This is just so ridiculous, man. This is the age that we live in.
Called the Scofield Bible. He wrote this new Bible that has all these new interpretations of the text. So they didn't change.
He wrote this Bible that has these new interpretations. That's called a study Bible, you idiot. I don't think that this guy ever read a Bible. Do you think this guy has ever read a Bible?
No, and he looks like a freaking like 70s porn star or something like this. Like, what's up with him and his mustache and his hair and stuff like that?
With AIDS, yeah.
I'm here to fix your plumbing, ma'am.
So they didn't
With
change.
Jewish influence.
Yes, literally, that's where Judeo-Christianity kind of came from. And
With Jewish influence, no. C.I. Scofield was a dispensationalist, and he actually started with a dispensationalist worldview when he wrote the study Bible. Dispensationalism was popular around the time among certain Protestants. The idea that I don't know. It's a specific eschatological idea of God having plans in different phases for his relationship to his believers, to the with the covenant, and that there is eventually a plan for Israel to be rebuilt and to be for a new Israel in the future to be founded, and so on. It's a whole weird reading of the Bible which I don't agree with at all. But it is C.I. Scofield himself who holds the idea. He's not being influenced by Jews. These guys always think, a white person thinking of this on his own. No, how could it be? We are all retarded. Only Jews are smart, so they must have influenced us. How could we make up our own ideas? How could we come up with some? No, we're all collectively retarded. It must be the Jews who give us these ideas because they are the smart ones. Do you guys even know what you're saying?
I like how everyone we make fun of now gets the Dawa voice.
Judeo-Christianity also didn't start here. Maybe it was popularized in a way, but it also didn't start here. This is not where Judeo-Christianity comes from.
Judeo-Christianity kind of came from. And the idea that Israel is this modern Israel thing is the Israel of the Bible. It came from that Bible. And the Scofield Bible.
That it didn't come from that Bible. It was actually around, and Scofield himself believed in that, based on which he wrote the Scofield Study Bible. This was a common belief among a circle that he was also a part of. He didn't invent this. So this is not a big conspiracy where the Jews come together in their secret room and say, we have to hire somebody to write a new Bible through which we will propagate new ideas that will help us conquer the... No, these were ideas that were already around. And C.I. Scofield believed in those ideas based upon which he wrote the new Scofield Study Bible. This is not... The whole conspiracy completely falls apart here because it makes it look like this Scofield Study Bible is the originator of these ideas. It's not.
They were all. You had a room full of Jews, and they were like, Levi, let's pray to Ezra about how to get these Christians to do our work in destroying the Palestinians for us. Oh, great God, Ezra!
Man,
oh boy.
These people are so...
Oh, boy.
Bible was funded by the Rothschild family. And
again, false.
then it was pushed because they owned the publisher that publishes like all the books. I think it was...
That publishes all the books.
Yeah, literally everybody. The publisher that publishes all the books.
Do people realize how stupid this sounds?
Yeah. Say, if you go back a century, there was only one publisher who published all the books.
The publisher that publishes like all the books. I think it was Oxford.
This guy is an idiot who just, hangs out with other idiots and gets these ridiculous ideas and then spreads them online and people actually listen to it. This is the problem with, we are the new media. We don't need experts anymore. We can just say whatever. You can say whatever you want, but it doesn't change the fact that most of you people are completely dumb and ignorant.
Yeah.
Sorry to be blunt, but...
It's similar to something we've talked about before, in the sense that when like the founding fathers are saying, hey, you've got these freedoms because you have a certain kind of population that has that is advocating and training people in virtue, and you need that or this will not work. If you don't have that, then it's not going to work. It's actually going to break down. This is a very similar situation with we are the media now, that only works. That will only work if you have basically a core population that doesn't gullibly accept any sort of idiotic nonsense that you tell them. You need some level of scrutiny, or this is just going to lead to absolute disaster. So what's the missing part here? You need a basically somewhat intelligent population that has some level of skepticism about claims like this. Otherwise, this is just going to be disastrous.
It's really, really, really bad.
Press. And so they had the deals that they could make to get that Bible into all the mega churches across whole denominations of
That's not what happened.
Christianity. And so that was when
I've seen one Scofield Bible in my entire life, apart from the one that AP recently bought.
Kind of Jewified.
The final part here
was when Christianity got kind of Jewified.
That's when it happened. 2,000 years, completely separate and distinct, no connection at all with any Jew ever in Christianity. There's Christianity completely distinct and separate from any Jew who's ever existed. It's completely Jew-free from the beginning of Christianity. From the time Christianity comes on the world stage, it was completely Jew-free until the Rothschilds funded a Bible, and then the Jews made it all Jewy there. What is this dude, man? Oh.
There's just so much to say about this, but this is just absolutely ridiculous. It comes from a person who probably hasn't read the Bible at all. I maintain my position that I don't believe that this guy has actually ever read the Bible. I don't believe that he actually sat down and read one full chapter of the Bible. Maybe he read one epistle, one of those that is like one page or something. But I don't think that this guy has ever read a Bible. I don't think it ever happened. This whole idea, they Jewified Christian. Where the hell do you think Christianity came from? Who do you think the authors of the New Testament were? What do you think they identified as?
Scandinavians.
What do you think Paul called himself? Saint Paul called himself, who is the man in the New Testament, in the epistles. He called himself a Pharisee of Pharisees. He called himself a Jew. Jesus Christ called himself a Jew.
And people know him by Saul of Tarsus, but his real name was Saul Rothschild.
These guys had Jewish names, all of them.
Rothschild.
Yeah. Paul wrote very passionately about his love for his fellow Jews. He wrote in Romans that he wishes he could cut himself off from salvation to save all his fellow Jews, all his fellow Israelites. This is the origins of Christianity. And this guy's sitting here, this is how Scofield, he was paid by the Rothschilds, and then this is how Christianity was Jewified. You don't know anything, man. You don't know anything. This is so ridiculous. You don't know anything. Jewified? I go to an Orthodox church now, have been for months, and I love it. The funny thing about Orthodox churches, the funny thing about early Christian liturgies, as they were held, is that they are very, very Jewish. They are very Jewish. And so very Jewish in that the liturgy in the traditional apostolic, in the Orthodox church, is very much based on Second Temple Jewish practices. Pretty much everything that happens during a Sunday service, during a divine liturgy, is taken from Jewish practices, from biblical practices, from temple practices, from the priestly practices. So much of it is taken from Jewish practices, which is why the idea in Orthodox Christianity is that there is an unbroken continuity between temple practices and Orthodox Christian worship. This is the idea. This is not something that I'm making up. This is literally the Orthodox Christian idea. And this guy is sitting here talking about Jewified. Anyway, man.